The human mind, of course, is a magnificent and transcendent thing. God has given each of us this great gift and blessing to be able to think and to dream and to hope. We marvel at the genius of so many throughout the ages who have created such magnificent things in music and art and technology and science. And yet we know how sometimes our minds can become so feeble and frail. We can forget and not understand and be confused. All too often it seems that I can sometimes confuse or conflate this glorious feast of the Assumption of the Blessed Virgin Mary, which we celebrate every August 15th, with the feast of the Ascension of the Lord, the 40th day after Easter. How every Wednesday evening, before our normal Wednesday evening Mass, when we gather for adoration, I lead the rosary. I have to really concentrate when I recite the second glorious mystery, that of the Ascension of the Lord. And then the fourth glorious mystery, this event of Mary's Assumption. But it came to me over the past few days, I was preparing for this homily, that maybe this isn't so much of a confusion or lack of clarity, but actually an insight. Because these two events, the Ascension and the Assumption, are intimately connected. We gather each year on that 40th day of the Easter season with great pomp and solemnity as we recall the Lord's completion of his earthly mission, and as he ascends with his humanity to the glory of heaven. And we have to remember in that feast that when he takes his humanity with him, he takes our humanity. For everything he does is for us. And then we see this feast, how Mary, who perfectly responds to the call given to her in her humanity, is now body and soul in that eternal communion with the living God, her Son and her Lord, showing us our call and our destiny. Isn't this part of the insight of St. Paul in our second reading, that Christ in his resurrection and ascension is the first fruits, that just as in Adam all die, so too in Christ shall all be brought to life, each one in proper order. For that proper order is what we recognize tonight, because Mary is the greatest and most perfect disciple. She is the one who loved the Lord more than anyone else ever has. And now, again, she's brought body and soul into this eternal happiness, showing us how we are to follow her. Our gospel, of course, shows Mary's secret. She has said yes to the angel, this obedience to God's plan. She then selflessly travels to the aid of her cousin Elizabeth, where Elizabeth recognizes with great joy this God whom Mary bears as the unborn child in her womb. His herald, John the Baptist, leaps for joy. And then Mary bursts into prayer, praising and proclaiming the greatness of the Lord, the one who has done great things for her, who has mercy on those who fear him in every generation, who has remembered and is now fulfilling his promise of mercy to Abraham and his children forever. This most wondrous prayer of the Magnificat, this prayer of great humility and trust and thanksgiving that flows from the sinless heart of the ever-Virgin Mother of God. So we rejoice with her this day, this feast of the Assumption, where Mary shares in the glory of the Lord's ascension. Let us honor her and model our lives after her in obedience to the will of God, in our selfless love of him and of one another, and an ever-growing and deepening life of prayer to always praise and proclaim the greatness of the Lord, so that one day in Christ we all might share in her glorious splendor.